And then when I started looking for my shirt,
You feel nauseous or something like you want to throw up?
yeah.
Come in.
I need you at a gas capacitor in order to take the
It's records one or records 01. Records one or records 01. What's going on? What's going on? We're gonna wait the X to get in here, man. Get this thing started. Darn, y'all just gave y'all my Wi-Fi password, man. Don't ever come to the crib try to get my Wi-Fi. Dang. You got Mr. John Michaels in here. John, what's going on, bro? I'm gonna make John bring John in here. All right, before we get started, X should be coming in here soon. I think we're gonna have Gabby on here too for 247. Well, before we get started, a couple things. We don't have a few rules, man. We may take questions later. A lot of times it's just us up here talking. We got Mr. John Michaels in here from Atlanta. John, unmute yourself.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
Man, sitting here living the dream, ready for this recruiting thing to pop off. Waiting for an OC in the DC. Just excited that we got Mario in the building and we don't have to worry about dumbass Manny any longer.
We can get this thing popping right off the bat. So, John, tell the people, man. Tell the people what you got going on, where you from and stuff.
So originally, I'm a South Florida guy. If you ever heard me on Hockman and Crowder, you know I grew up down there, Palm Beach Lakes High School. I actually went to high school with Coach Field. He was a freshman when I was a senior. We had a mass media class together years and years ago. Al Shipman, who played at Miami, was my high school teammate. So I lived in Miami. I lived in Lauderdale, and then went to high school in West Palm. But living in Atlanta, I've been here, oh my goodness, since '98. Originally came up here to stay for a couple of years and then go back home. And then I got into radio up here, and 20 some odd years later, I'm still here. Host mornings on 680 The Fan in the ATL, 6 to 10, Monday through Friday. I don't get a chance to talk very much Miami. We're obviously a station associated with the University of Georgia. We do Brave stuff, but I've been a sports talk host for 20 some odd years. The dream is to one day get back down there to QAM and, do some radio down there. But I got kids in school, and until they graduate high school, I'm not going anywhere. So I got at least 5 or 6 more years here in the ATL. But diehard Miami fan. Anybody that follows me on social media, the only thing I give a damn about are the Canes and the Heat. Everything else is just kind of, kind of falls by the wayside. I did radio for the Falcons for a long time, so I traveled with them, got to work a Super Bowl. I know CIA's on here. Ulysses, I think, is on here, and he gives me crap about Matt Ryan. But diehard Kane, I love what you guys do with Caneville and Footballville. X is my dude. I got to hang out with him for a little bit during the Michigan State game. I know I've got to meet a bunch of you online and a bunch of you at games. Cannot wait to be down there this year. I got to make it home at least 2 or 3 times this year.
So how did your fan base take? I mean, if your fan base in Atlanta take you being such a Miami homer, how do you balance that?
I mean, they know who I am. I got a lot of shit from Georgia fans for a lot of years. It's always the Miami's irrelevant. Don't talk about Miami. Miami doesn't matter. And I'm like, you could say whatever you want about Miami doesn't matter, but the logo holds weight no matter where we go. I know there's a lot of guys up here from Miami that live in Atlanta. You'll see us. We drive by. We throw up the U. The fan base they love to hate on Miami, but they know the history and they appreciate the history. And living in an area where, let's be real, it's 95% SEC fans. The other 5% are Clemson fans. It is tough to navigate when we've been so bad for so long. And all I've ever been able to hold on to is, hey, we've won more national titles than any of your schools have won other than Alabama. And there's not a whole lot they could say. But I have to balance. It is tough doing radio and not being able to talk about what I want to talk about. Like when the whole Mario scenario was going down, and X and I would text back and forth, and I'm showing the guys I work with, I'm like, we're hiring Mario Cristobal. And of course,
Right.
they're all looking at me going, your school's too broke. They're too cheap. They're never going to do this. And I said, trust me, when my people tell me something's happening, something's happening. And sure enough, we hired Mario Cristobal. And I text my little radio show and I said, I told you. And they were like, how do you know this? I said, man, I got guys in Florida. They're a hell of a lot more connected than I am. And that's why I've always said, I trust what you guys say. I don't run with stupid ass Brett McMurphy and all these other guys that'll throw crap to the wall. X told me for the longest time, don't trip. Mario's coming. Manny's getting fired. And there were a couple times I had to hit him up on DM. I said, bro, I'm getting nervous. Manny's not staying, is he? He was like, trust me, he's out of there. And I love it. I love to have that connection still back home. It's the great thing about social media is there are guys like people for the longest have said, all right, you got to be a reporter to know things. And I try to tell them, I said, in 2022, it doesn't matter if you work for the Action Network or ESPN. There's guys in cities that know a hell of a lot more than any of those reporters know. And I laugh when they try to discredit what you guys are doing. And then you come back around and you realize, oh, shit.
Oh, what happened to him? He went away?
Remember that it was going to happen. And then when it goes down, all those national reporters, it's funny, they got real damn quiet.
It took me a while to get comfortable in the space. 1 second. We got X, you in here, right? And we got Gabby in here from 24/7 Sports.
I'm in here.
What's up, bro? It took me a while to get comfortable, bro. To get comfortable in the space and realize the value and the connections that we had. And then X, everybody loves X. X has connections all. X could probably tell Wyoming who's coming.
Right.
Recruits that are coming. And once we realized we had that value, John, and we could utilize it the same way, and I kind of perfected social media and marketing and stuff. We knew we had something. And I totally appreciate you, bro. Like I heard you, when I heard you give that Clemson, I heard you on, I think, Joe Rose. You was on a radio show one morning.
Mm-hmm.
And when Miami went to play Clemson, you said you were sitting how close to the bench?
Oh, I was 2 rows behind. Literally, it was Cole was there, Brad was there, and then it was me and my son Kane. We were 2 rows behind the bench on the 50-yard line, sitting right behind the entire team.
Right. And when I heard you explain the feel or how the kids look and the passion you explained it with, I've been your fan. I've been trying to get you on something ever since. And that was what, 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. But real fast, how do you feel about the Mario Cristobal hire? I know it's the buzz down here in Miami is crazy, man. We got recruits coming by. We got 5 stars doubling back. We got billionaires dropping NIL deals to everybody from the equipment guy. I mean, how do you feel about the Mario Cristobal hire?
It's a home run. I mean, it is an unequivocal home run. It's literally what we have been asking for since Larry Coker was let go. And I know people want to bang on Larry Coker. That was the right hire in 2001 because you kept Ed Reed and Bryant McKinney and Clinton Portis and Jeremy Schott. Those guys all go to the NFL if Larry's not hired. And let's be real, we should have won 2 national titles back to back. They absolutely screwed us on one. Randy was a good dude. He's a Miami guy. They gave him dog shit to work with. They gave him no budget. He couldn't hire staff. You're bringing up Patrick Nix and Tim Walton and guys that weren't even close to being qualified. Then you go from there to Al Golden, which was the dumbest. I'll never forget. I was doing a Falcons postgame show. We used to do a Falcons postgame show live at a bar here in the ATL. It was a Sunday night, and my co-host is a Michigan fan, and him and I are laughing. And he goes, "You guys are going to hire Mark Trestman." And I go, "Trestman wouldn't be a great hire." I said, "But if they hire this clown from Temple, I'm going to lose it." And literally before we go off the air, they hire Al Golden. I said, "You hire Temple's trash, you're going to turn into Temple." And I said this on a Falcons postgame show. "You're going to turn into Temple's trash." And I knew from day one against Maryland, watching our corners play 15 yards off the ball and cover 3, getting the hell out of Dodge, it was terrible. I wrote an article in 15 when we hired Mark Richt, and I said, "Look, Rick's a great guy. I got to know Coach a lot when he was here in Atlanta and coaching at Georgia." I said, "But he's a guy that's going to get you 10, and you're never going to win a national title." And 17 was probably the peak you were going to get from him. And let's be real, Manny Diaz, I have a connect that I'll never out who he is. He told me Mark Richt was resigning 3 or 4 days before Richt resigned. And I didn't know him that well at the time, and we're DMing back and forth. And he said, "Manny Diaz is going to be the head coach." And I go, "Wait a second. Manny just took the job at Temple." He goes, "Trust me, Rick's going to resign. Manny's getting the job, and it played out perfectly. And I hated it. I wanted it to work. You know, I said, okay, this guy talks a great game. But after
He did.
But after watching 2019, and I went down to the Florida game, and I watched this play, and I see the game against Central Michigan, and I go, this isn't Miami. And you knew something was wrong. And the COVID year was great. Yeah, we won 8 games. Let's be real. That was a COVID year where a lot of fortunate things went Miami's way. And De'Aaron King was a star and all that great stuff. Manny was never going to win big at Miami. He just wasn't. He didn't have what's necessary for Miami to succeed. And the necessary evil is you need somebody that's going to be a hard ass on these kids. Most of you guys on the space right now live in South Florida. What did we do when we were 4 years old? We wanted to put on helmets and shoulder pads and go to our local park and play football. But there was a discipline associated with it where you need to hone in. You're talking about pit bulls. You're talking about 85 pit bulls on a roster, and you had a guy that was letting them run free. Here's a steak for you. Here's a steak for you. Oh, it doesn't matter that you shit in the yard. I'm going to give you some money as well. Mario is a disciplinarian that will demand greatness out of these kids. You know, I hate it. Kids are leaving. Whatever. We were 7-5 with you, and I'll never bang on a kid. They're 18 to 22-year-olds. I got kids in high school. I'd hate somebody to do that to my own kids. But we were 7-5 with you. If you leave, best of luck. I hope you do well in your next stop. You'll always be a Cane. But I need a coach that's going to walk in there and say, you get high before the game, your ass ain't playing. You're late to practice, go sit on the bench. Oh, you missed 5 tackles in the game. I'm going to pull you out and put a true freshman in who's a better player than you. Mario is a home run. We will be in the college football playoffs within 3 years. Mark my word with that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Listen, bro.
Also
everybody down there in the comments, I know y'all really can't say anything, but throw up the 100s. Throw up the 100s of John getting y'all fired up. I love this dude. Listen. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, Miami is my
I think he
passion.
checked out again.
I see my girl Boss.
X, you there?
Am I?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hold on, let me make sure my wife.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I think he.
Did we?
You guys.
Yeah, I think he blacking out a little bit.
Yeah, we get you.
Gabby, you can okay, Gabby, you can unmute too.
What's up, guys?
I guess you can unmute.
What's up, Gabby?
Yeah. We got you. You good.
What up?
So listen, why he getting that?
Gabby, what's going on, man?
What's
Gabby,
up, guys?
What's going on?
Not much, man. What's got a huge weekend going on.
Yeah, man.
Weekend for you, Go ahead, Streeter.
Can you hear me?
Streeter,
Yeah.
it's your phone is acting up.
Yeah.
Else
You're going.
everybody.
I think Streeter's going in and out a little bit.
Oh no, I mean I'm here. I just stopped talking because I thought y'all couldn't hear me. I'm straight.
Yeah, you're straight, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No, I just thought y'all could hear me. I stopped talking. I wasn't saying anything. But X, go ahead, man. You and Gabby do your thing, bro.
Yeah, man. Got a big, huge recruiting weekend coming up this weekend. I guess what is called the Elite Week.
Yeah, man. A lot of big time dudes coming in for sure.
Yeah. A lot of people keep asking me like, is this the new Paradise Camp? And I'm like, nah. It's basically a junior day.
Right.
Once the previous class start committing and signing and stuff like that, it's basically junior day. But this list, I think this is probably one of the best lists we've had since maybe I would say the first year of Mark Rick came.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so too. I wasn't really around then, but you have like the Jerry Jeudy, Devonta Smith, Mark Pope, Paradise Camp that everyone always talks about. I mean, definitely a bunch of dudes sort of rolled in, but man, this is gonna be a pretty good one, man. Just kind of going through it now, and I mean, obviously the last couple cycles have been, affected by like COVID and all that stuff. So they haven't been able to do something like this, in January over the past couple years. I guess 2019 was the last time, like it was like early year junior days. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for it being the first one in a while and stuff, and, obviously a lot of other schools around the country having similar events and, other big time junior days for Miami to put this together and get all these dudes down just from not only the local guys. I mean, you just consider the guys coming from out of town, out of state. I mean, this is really as good as you can ask for, man. I mean, when you talk about 8 5-stars, a 5-star quarterback, a bunch of big time dudes, in the trenches, skill position guys, all those types. And, even the 3-star guys, there's definitely no love lost for those types of guys. There's some definitely extremely talented guys coming in that, aren't going to get the same star recognition, but you look at like an Andy Jean, even like a Bobby Washington, someone I really like a lot. Carrington Lee from Dwyer, someone that people think is going to end up being really good in the 23 class. So, definitely a lot of dudes to be excited about, man. And some guys there, even on the bottom, that, are worth, noting that are coming.
Yeah, 2 names you just mentioned, the Andy Jean and the Bobby Washington. Yeah, them 2 kids right there are regardless of their rating, I think they're real elite kids. When they play, especially when they play in big games, they tend to perform. And that's just like take that 23 class, especially at receiver. That's going to be an unbelievable class. It's about 10, 12 names that you can actually name that could go to any school in across the country, and that's big time.
No, for sure. I mean, although that 2023 receiver class, there's going to be schools, nothing new for Miami fans or, people that definitely follow recruiting here locally. But I mean, those 2023 receivers are going to have options from every school in the country. I mean, you're seeing some that came down today. I believe Georgia and Louisville came down and offered Nathaniel Joseph today. Andy Jean got Florida State. Andy Jean got Florida State, Texas A&M. A couple other schools like that came down and offered and stuff like this. So it's big time. It's gonna be competitive. There's obviously a lot of guys, but that receiver group is definitely special this cycle.
Yeah. So the receiver group, how many? Depending on the numbers, how many you think you could guess that UM would take for the 23 cycle?
Yeah, I mean, if just kind of guessing right now, I would say at least 3. Really this last cycle, it's really just Isaiah Horton that's in the class now. So, I think that they can go bigger in 2023. Obviously, just when you have this type of group of guys, you got to get as many of them as you can in. So, I mean, if you can get 4 of the elite guys, I think you definitely do that. I can't imagine it being any less than 3 though.
Yeah, that's about the same number I was saying, like 3. You're going to aim for 4, but
Yeah.
you want to get 3 for sure, because like you say, we only took Isaiah Horton in 2022, and we still might be short at receivers, because most of all of them are going to be true sophomores,
Right,
and freshmen all over again, or just basically you're going to have a whole list of true sophomores. So yeah, you definitely need to take 3, but you aim for 4. And with them 4 names, off the top of my head, I would say, of course, Brandon Inniss, Jalen Brown, Hakeem Williams, Nathaniel Joseph. You have William Fowles.
Yeah, you got William Fowles. You got Robbie Washington. You got
Robbie Washington.
You got Andy Jean.
Andy Jean.
There's that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if there's space for all those guys. So there's a good chance that Miami's gonna miss out on a good player, and it's not even gonna be like intentional. It's just because they can only take so many, and definitely have their work cut out for some of those guys. Like Nathaniel Joseph, obviously committed to Clemson right now and stuff like that. Still plenty of time, but that's someone that as of now is planning on getting away, and then the rest of the guys, you just got to work at it, man. You can. They definitely want to, definitely attack Brandon Inniss. Jalen Brown, from what I'm understanding, is getting a full court press from Brian McClendon. I know he's someone that they really, really want in this class. Same with Hakeem Williams. I mean, just talking to him, he has a a relationship with McClendon back from, his time at Oregon because they were recruiting him over there too. So I know that he's someone they really like. It's going to be interesting, man. And, Robbie Washington was telling me at the Immortals tryouts that him and Kevin Smith have a really good relationship. So, if Kevin Smith kind of gets involved in that recruitment, I think Miami's in a good spot for Robbie as well. So, it's it's gonna be fun to track that group this over the next really like 11 and a half, 12 months.
Yeah, that was gonna be definitely fun to watch play out, especially being that the 7-on-7 season is
right
around the corner, man. Just watching them kids, just watching them, especially from little leagues on up now, man. It's gonna be a special group. I think that group can be in the running with that Jerry Jeudy group that year, if I'm not mistaken. Because obviously with like I say with Brandon Inniss, man, Streeter keeps saying like this might be the best receiver, maybe best player.
I got a question, X,
on the field. What's up? You muted yourself. Okay.
I love Brandon.
So, Gabby, let's get into
I love
some trenches.
Brandon. I love Brandon. I love what he stands for.
Yeah. We know you love Brandon. You've been saying that since
no, I was
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon, he's athletic. He's one of them players, man. You just put him on your team, and he makes everybody else around him better because of the way he approaches the game.
Yeah, man. He's got like just like between the ears, man. Like just like his mentality is just. I think he's definitely got that alpha personality where, he's that type of guy that's gonna do whatever it sort of takes to win. I mean, you saw at Heritage that Blake Murphy went down with that leg injury, and he kind of didn't blink, man. He took over at quarterback. He started running that Heritage offense, and he sort of willed that team through a couple playoff wins. They ran into Central, and that was always going to be tough. That's a big ask for a guy like Brandon to sort of go through that defense with Ruben Bain and Wesley Bassane and those guys, just sort of chasing after him. But what Brandon's able to do on a football field, man, is very unique, man. And just like again, his will to win, just kind of those 50-50 balls aren't really 50-50 balls. He's a really crisp route runner. He doesn't look as fast as he might be. He's just a complete kind of just really just extremely polished receiver, and definitely has that dog that you want. So with Brandon, it's I think he's just a really special talent in that way.
Say, Gabby, I got to jump in here because I was lucky. I got a chance to go to the national title game and watch Georgia play Alabama. And, not that this is any surprise, but seeing Alabama twice live, seeing Georgia live a couple of times, they're just so different in the trenches. And
it's so different.
For Miami to be great again, we got to at least be, I'd say, average to above average on the O-line, and we've got to be elite on the defensive line. Where do you look on the defensive line that can get us to that elite level? Like Leonard last year obviously has elite talent as a 5-star, but is there anybody coming up either in this 2022 class or the 23 class that can start to put us in that elite level where we've got a front seven, where we've got D linemen that can play in the backfield and linebackers who could actually get somebody to the ground?
Yeah, man, I really think across the board, I think it starts from, really just the top end of the talent. I mean, you mentioned guys like LT. I mean, I think you kind of saw where the pass rush fell off. I think that's where, just watching Nigel Lee Kelly play. Nigel Lee Kelly's a guy that I'm extremely excited about. Not a lot of people realize this, but he's not going to be 18 till like later on this year. So he's going to be like a 17-year-old college freshman. He's still extremely young. He could be, a class of 2023 recruit, and I think he's one of the best in 2022. So I think Nigel Lee Kelly's best football still ahead of him. I think he's going to be an absolute dude. So, you get really excited about pass rushers like that. You pair him up with a Cyrus Moss, Shamar Stewart, if that were to sort of come through for Miami. You need to stack that defensive line class. You need to find another, LT type, and then you just need to create depth behind those guys. You need to sort of continue to stack talent. It's not about getting one of each of those guys. You need to have a Leonard Taylor, and then you need to have, maybe not a Leonard Taylor, but a guy that's, that you can put next to Leonard Taylor. And, there's not really a drop off. You need multiple of these guys. It's not like you can't have one 5-star defensive tackle and then expect it all to be fixed. You need the 5-star defensive tackle, and then you need the number 27 ranked overall player that's a defensive tackle. And I mean, you're seeing what Texas A&M just did on the defensive line, and that's obviously the dream, but that's the recipe on defense. You need to stack multiple elite defensive linemen next to each other, and have those guys sort of compete. And sure, in this era of college football, maybe not all those guys stick around, but you need to get a bunch of big time dudes around each other. You need to have them all compete, and then you need to figure out which ones you can sort of go to war with. And if those guys stick and create that valuable depth, that's how you win. I mean, you just look at it's obvious. You watch Georgia, you watch Alabama, and it's you look at the recruiting rankings every year, and it's no surprise that those are the two teams at the top of it, just because they're able to just consistently go through those top guys in the trenches, defensive linemen, offensive linemen. I mean, it's not just about one strong class of defensive linemen. It's about 3 strong classes of defensive linemen, guys that are just going at it every single day, building that sort of culture, building that, expectation of competition, and that it's not going to be easy just because you are the top guy. Ideally, Leonard Taylor came in last year, and we needed him to play because of how the situation was like. But ideally, you get a guy like Leonard Taylor, and you have the Leonard Taylor from 2 years ahead of him, sort of, him having someone to work, to compete with every day, to go after every day. And that makes him better. I think Leonard Taylor is the best defensive lineman on the team last year. And, I don't think that should necessarily be the case when you have a true freshman walking in, and that's the situation. So until that's the case, until you're just consistently building defensive linemen, again, it's any position, but I mean, on the defensive line specifically, that's where you need to win. You need to win the line of scrimmage. That's what Mario Cristobal keeps talking about. And it's a process. And I think Miami took a really good first step this cycle, with, again, Nigel Kelly and Cyrus Moss. Those are 2 big time guys, but you need to add more bodies on the inside too. It's nice to have Leonard Taylor, but there needs to be more of those types of guys. So I don't think the job is finished. I don't think it's close to finish. I think if you ask anyone at Miami, they'll tell you they are still 2-3 recruiting cycles away from making this sort of go. And that's why it's so exciting to see a lot of top defensive linemen. I mean, Jaden Wayne coming in, Derek LeBlanc from Orlando. Those guys are coming in, and I think Miami's doing a really good job with them. John Walker. I mean, just a couple other defensive linemen that are coming to that elite prospect day. Again, you got to get a guy like Shamar Stewart, and then you just got to keep sort of bringing these guys in and having these guys, just continue to build that depth that you need. I mean, this is if we're talking national title, if we're talking Alabama, Georgia, if we're talking win the ACC, I think that, I think Miami's on the right path in that way. But, you asked me about the national title, and I think there's a very specific recipe to make that happen. And I think Miami knows that, is aware of it. And that's why, I mean, you hear Mario Cristobal talk, and he's talking about trenches. Like, Miami's always going to find the receivers. I think we've seen that. The running backs are always going to be there. The quarterback, I think they've figured that out over the last few cycles. But it's offensive line, man, and it's defensive line that, really makes or break a college team. There's a lot of really good college football teams that just, they aren't able to take that next step because, the trenches just aren't where they need to be. And I think that's what separates Georgia. I think that's what separates Alabama. And you even saw it against Michigan. Michigan won the best offensive line of the year award. And, they face a team like Georgia, and then Georgia just makes them look silly. It takes a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a process. It takes years, and, it doesn't happen overnight. So, it's just, it all starts with recruiting, finding these guys and getting them to come over, and then, just doing it all over again. The cycle doesn't stop. It never stops. The lifeblood of this sport is talent acquisition. And that's why, this recruiting stuff is so important.
And it's crazy. You talk national title, and we're, again, a couple of years away from that. I think even me, the diehardest, tattooed maniac of Miami fans, I realize we're not close to a national title today. But there's no damn reason we shouldn't win the ACC. After seeing, and again, I live right down the street from Georgia Tech, and I'll be at that game this year. You watch teams in the ACC. We beat Pitt, and we were not a good team this past year, but we were good enough to beat Pitt. We beat NC State. And Clemson, I'm very intrigued with Clemson because for the first time in 10 years, Dabo has to replace an OC, a DC. His quarterback's not very good. I think we can all assume that DJU's not very good. They really struggled on the offensive line. And this is where in year one, Mario Cristobal, and I know I said it every year with Manny Diaz, we have no business not to be in the ACC championship game. And even the I don't want to say the limited talent we have on both lines of scrimmage, but the talent that's not equal to Bama and Georgia, is absolutely good enough to win that conference. And I think the second, and I said this about Georgia, I said when Georgia wins a national title, Dogs are going to win 3 of the next 6 titles. I 100% believe that because Kirby has stacked chip on top of chip on top of chip year after year. The second we win the ACC, it's going to be an avalanche. We'll take over for Clemson because you have a dog in Mario Cristobal. You have a quarterback, obviously, in Van Dyke. And I saw Jake Garcia play in high school. The kid is a monster. Same thing with Jacuri Brown coming in. He's a monster as well. It's just a matter of not dropping the damn bag and losing to shit schools like Virginia and Florida State and having these dumbass conversations about, well, we were close. Miami's never been about being close, and that's what pisses me off. Not with the people that are on here, but I've had so many knockdown dragouts with fans that, oh, we finished 5-1. Get the fuck out of here finishing 5-1 against that grab-ass schedule. We lost to one of the worst Florida State teams in the history of the world. Now, it worked out great. Manny's gone. We're reloading and doing other things. Stop taking our expectations and dropping them down to levels of Wake Forest and Virginia. Virginia's happy to go 7-5 and make a bowl. I was glad we didn't have to play in the Tony the Tiger dumbass Sun Bowl. Who the hell wants to go to El Paso? Our goal needs to be Charlotte every year minimum. And if you can't get that job done, you don't need to be here. Mario's going to be here 5-6 years at least, probably 10. The patience needs to be for the national title. But Georgia was happy in year 2 to make an SEC championship. Probably should have won a title in Kirby's second year. Mario will have us in the ACC title game. I'm ready to buy my tickets to Charlotte, and we can start getting ready for the tailgate now.
I'm down with that.
I don't think anyone could jack me up the way John does, man. There's just something about your voice, man, that just like it just gets the people going. Like, you know, like you just have that voice that's just like you can convince me of anything, man. I just like you talk and I'm just like, yep, like that's right.
And the funny thing is, people in Atlanta, they used to say the same, because I used to do Falcon raps. I would do anything, you know, like Tobin does down on 790, just have fun.
Yeah.
And we get to work in radio, and I get to do stupid shit. Like, I got to ride a damn mechanical bull because the Braves won a World Series, because I bet people that would happen. And I'm going to go on tomorrow and just start dropping stupid bets just to see if my co-host will go with it. But this is passion, man. You talk about last night, there were 5,000 people on a space to hear John Ruiz talking about NIL and everything else, and Darren Ravel running his little coward ass all over the place. You want to talk about the dumbest thing I've ever heard? That dude trying to convince people because he has an MLK collection who he is. He's a little weasel. I met him before. You know, he always likes to talk trash about Chick-fil-A. So Super Bowl was here in, I guess, the end of the 19 or the end of the 18 season. So we had Radio Row in Atlanta, and my co-host Rick Kamla at the time goes, "Dude, we got to get Ravel on." And I was like, I don't want this little twerp on our show. Well, Chick-fil-A is a big sponsor up here. They come over and they said, "We're going to bring you guys breakfast. If you'll let us videotape you, give it to Darren Ravel." I said, "Oh, done." He sat down, and I reach under the desk, and I throw a Chick-fil-A box at him, and he kind of gets nervous. And I said, "Don't ever talk about our restaurant again." I'm just trying to have fun. And that guy doesn't know his way out of a wet paper bag. And I'm glad people put him in his space the other day.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing, man. He was trying to pull him into a pissing match.
Yeah, but he you know, and Darren's not a dumb person. I'll never knock him. He's a very intelligent guy who's made a lot of money in this business. But he was trying to pull John Ruiz. He knew what he was doing when he took the shot at Miami. He didn't take a shot at Texas A&M, who allegedly spent $30 million on recruits. He didn't take a shot at Texas, who every one of their offensive linemen got a NIL deal. He decided to take the shot at Miami because he knows people are nuts about Miami. And I try to tell, like, the funny thing living up here, and Streeter, you asked me about this, how do people respond? People up here, you love to tell me, "Oh, you guys are so passionate, nobody goes to the game." I said, Miami's an event town, much like Atlanta. Look at the Hawks game. When the Hawks win, people show up. When the Falcons win, very rarely, people show up. When those teams don't win, nobody's there. And I said, Miami's the same way. I said, but we're like a brotherhood. I said, we may fight amongst each other, but don't dare some damn outsider walk in and say shit about the U. Because you say something about the U, we're putting them hands up right now, and we go to war tomorrow.
Right. So listen, man. I hope y'all. My phone was tripping a little bit, man. Give me thumbs up if y'all can hear me. Before we got on here, they were saying that T. Rob had been poached by Alabama and offered a job by Alabama, and we're hearing that T. Rob will be leaving. Will be leaving Miami. I think to head to Alabama.
Yeah, sorry, I've been quiet. That's the text message I've been sort of dealing with over the past couple minutes.
Right.
Is just that it's sort of been in the works and all that stuff. I know that Alabama. I know there's some report came out of the Alabama site today that that T. Rob still had to made a decision and had to talk to Mario Cristobal and all that stuff. I heard that conversation actually happened yesterday. And I actually just had multiple sources, a few people, just let me know now that that T. Rob is going to be taking a job at Alabama. So I believe that to be done. I think the writing was sort of on the wall. The smoke started to sort of come out about this, a little while ago. I mean, I got the first call about it to sort of just keep an eye out about it a couple weeks ago, and I thought that there was a chance he could probably stay, but it sounds to me right now that that T. Rob's going to actually take that role at Alabama.
Yeah, he's gone. So X, where you at? You in here?
Yeah, I'm here.
So where we go from here, X? We pulling DVD down, or we going back in? We going back in the on the coaching serve? Where we go from here?
Yeah, we have to go back in the coaching pool to get coach. This one I don't know about. Well, most likely the defensive coordinator is most likely going to be a defensive back coach. So maybe that's the situation. That's coming around. The fact that the defensive coordinator would be a defensive back coach. And that's all I can say about that.
Choked up, man. You sound choked up, man. You all right over there, man?
I mean, that's T-Rob, the
Miami
homie. Like he ain't
T-Rob,
just
though.
That's the homie, man. So I'm happy for one, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It
right.
is
The
what
Miami
it
fans
is.
they love T-Rob, man. I done got into a couple arguments, fights about T-Rob. He came through for a day. Him and DVD ran around Florida, man. Like two bandits, recruiting every position, bro. And we appreciate having them here. I mean, I guess he's going to get bigger money or do bigger things, man. But yeah, Gabby, that's the word. That's what we hear. He's gone. So Miami has to fill that position.
Now,
Go
I
ahead.
would love
Go
to
ahead.
know, would there be a shot in the dark? I know Ed Reed has talked about wanting to coach. Would he ever take a position coaching job? You guys know him better than I do. But if you read the cryptic messages that he tweets, he's always talking about coaching. You want to talk about a perfect spot to come in with not a ton of pressure? Boy, I would let Ed be my DB coach tomorrow.
See, listen, that was something that I always thought that would happen. Because I figured once we heard that DVD wasn't going to be cornerback coach anymore, I felt like maybe T-Rob would coach corners and Ed Reed would come in and coach the safeties. But since T-Rob is leaving, that's a thought that Ed Reed could probably come in and be the defensive back coach, the safety coach. Just a thought, but obviously, Mario is going to do his due diligence and go get us the right fit at that position. But yeah, that's a thought that I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah, if there's a place for, and I know we hate the on-the-job training. Like I didn't want my head coach to be an OJT guy, but I have no problem. Position coach, a guy like Ed Reed, who is the greatest safety that's ever played, who obviously has a ton of respect. If that's something that he wants, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like you cannot go wrong, even if it's a year or two. It's not like he's going to go back there and give bad advice to Avante or to James Williams. He knows how to play the position, and obviously comes with a ton of respect. And he's already in the building, so that to me would be fantastic. And it's the same thing I thought about. I know a lot of people have gone back and forth with the OC, and I don't want Ken Dorsey because he hadn't called plays before. Man, go listen to what NFL folks say about Ken Dorsey. And I don't know that he'll get the job because he'll probably get an NFL OC job. But if that guy came in as a Miami offensive coordinator, it would be a 100% home run. Cam Newton's best years were when Ken Dorsey was his quarterback coach. Josh Allen was seen as sort of a project who's now an MVP in the NFL. And I think Brian Daboll will probably take him. Like if he gets a head coaching job, which he most likely will, he'd take Dorsey with him. And that's where, for me, I try not to argue with fans on social media. Ken Dorsey would be a home run. Just because he hasn't actually called plays, Matt LaFleur had never called plays for the Falcons. He got an OC job, and a couple of years later, he's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. That's just a stepping stone.
Right. So for 1 second, though, we're gonna take a commercial break, kind of like Lance Leggett all the time. But we never really talk about Investor Die, the IOD squad that we have. Have over like 140 people on a Discord, and basically it's a community to invest. So if y'all go check the last tweet I put out, you can join. Just click the link and it'll take the bot to take you through everything to join. And we do crypto and talk about NFTs in this community. Just talk about building wealth, and you can actually see what we're investing in. And we showed you actually receipts. We just invested in Apple, and you can actually see it. So if something y'all is interested in, go check the last tweet. You can get started. So Somber Day, man. T-Rob's out of here, but we got Johnny here firing everybody up. Shamar Stewart. We sat out with Shamar Stewart and Mo, his mentor, this weekend on like an exclusive interview, and that's going to drop here soon. Shamar was heavy leaning to Texas A&M, and then here recently, X been saying Miami. X, how you feeling about Shamar here lately, bro?
Hey, you still gonna ask me that question? I feel the same way. I feel the same way I felt last year when we interviewed Shamar. What it was, last year or 2 years ago? I feel
2 years ago, and I had him on stream last year.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. Obviously, man, he's a kid. I feel like that's going to be home. They want to be home around family. Represent his hometown. Basically going to a small private school like Pace. Translate going to a small school like University of Miami. That's my feelings. I always felt good about him coming to Miami, so I'm sticking with it, and that's the end of that.
Gabby, how you feel about Shamar? You got any insight on Shamar? What you guys? What do you guys doing?
Yeah, man. I mean, I do think Miami's is in a pretty good spot, man. I thought over the summer, Miami was in a really good spot. Just kind of, yeah, man. You follow the visits and recruiting and all that, and just how much he sort of came around and how much he's around. I think, I think there was always legitimate interest in there. Obviously, Texas A&M, I think has given him a lot to consider as well. Like, I mentioned earlier that defensive line class they're building. I think, working alongside those guys. I mean, Walter Nolan, Anthony Lucas, a couple other guys that they have in that class. It's enticing, and I think that the opportunity to play at Texas A&M is a big one. Obviously, that's one of the most the highest, one of the schools that produce the most money and all that stuff. But you know what, man? I think this home stretch, I thought it was big that one big sort of turning point in this recruitment that I'm not sure a lot of people sort of realize. That last weekend before the early signing period, Shamar Stewart was going on the third unofficial visit to Texas A&M. And, the day before he left, Mario burned his in-home visit, the one that he could be using this month, to, go in home with Shamar to sort of basically, just in case Shamar was going over there to come home and then potentially sign early with Texas A&M. I think, any chance of that happening, Mario sort of eliminated it with that first visit that I thought was necessary to use at the time. Obviously Shamar didn't sign, just to give him a whole other month to sort of climb his way back into this. And, something notable that I discovered today is that, Shamar's not going to make it back to Texas A&M at all this month. And I think that's notable, man, just because, Miami was able to, have him he canceled that trip that was supposed to be last weekend. He ended up spending that Saturday at Miami. He had what he called his best visit to Miami yet. And then, this weekend he's going to spend it at Georgia. And then that following weekend, he's going to be back at Miami for an official visit. So, not taking another trip to College Station, I think is a pretty big deal. Jimbo Fisher does have that in-home visit to use. So, that's definitely something to watch out for. But, I think Miami gave themselves the absolute best shot to make something happen by, just sort of having him around and, again, sort of having him avoid that Texas A&M unofficial visit that he's already taken a few times. So, again, I think Miami's in a good spot here. I'm not going to start dropping predictions on here. I think that this still could twist and turn a couple different ways, but I definitely feel good about where Miami stands at this point.
Yeah, and the fact that taking into account, you got to look at the 3 teams that are after Shamar. Look at the teams and the defense that the teams play. Obviously, University of Miami, we still don't have the defensive coordinator officially named yet, but Texas A&M, Georgia pretty much plays a 30 front defense, 3-4 defense. And I've been saying this all, for probably 2 years, that everybody who's basically going to recruit Shamar is going to recruit him to play a 3-4 defensive end. I felt like University of Miami was probably one of the only schools that would take him as a 4-3 defensive end, which is what he wants to play.
Right.
Similar situation to how James Williams was recruited last year. Everybody's saying, oh, well, he's not going to be a safety, so we'll recruit him as a linebacker, maybe outside rushing defensive end. And I'm like, well, you know what? You aren't going to be in it because you aren't going to allow him to play safety, which is where he wants to play. So it's the same similar situation with Shamar Stewart. Basically, where he wants to play is the 4-3 defensive end. So who's ever going to take him at that 4-3 defensive end is where he's going to go.
Yeah, I agree. I know that the 4-man front is a big deal, and Miami might be able to pull in this next defensive system or whatever it is, but I think the base is always going to be a 4-man front. I'm not sure he's interested in being like a 4-eye and a 3-man front. So I think the 4-man thing is much more suited for him, and he definitely wants to be considered a defensive end, an edge guy. He's not a huge fan of hearing that he's an inside guy. I teased him about it once at Pace, and he was just like, no. Like, I was just like, bro, you're going into a defensive lineman, like a defensive tackle. He's like, no, I'm not. And I'm just like,
no, that's a fight.
Yeah. I was just messing with him. I knew that he didn't like to. I knew he doesn't like to hear that, but I was just teasing with him. I feel like me and him are. Not like cool or whatever, but I've talked to him a lot, so he's a really, really good kid and all that. So, but awesome kid, really awesome kid. So he definitely wants to be a defensive end. So I think the 4-man front is something that's huge. And, that's why, with Georgia, it's, I feel like typically people would be like, oh my gosh, well, they just won a national championship and all that stuff. But, I think a lot of this might be just doing their due diligence, just hearing out Georgia one last time. I think it's safe to say that they're probably running third in this recruitment. And, they have a really good defensive line class in their own right. I mean, Michael Williams is just an absolute freak for anyone that sort of followed the Adidas All-American game over in San Antonio. He was just absolutely ridiculous. Marvin Jones Jr., a lot of, Miami fans will be familiar with him. He's headed to Georgia. They have a lot of guys too, and that's a really good Bear Alexander. He officially visited over the summer. So, Georgia's doing all right as well. I feel like, it's not like he's someone that they, desperately need in that class. Same deal with Texas A&M, but I think Miami's a school that, he can come in and, probably make the most immediate impact.
Right, I agree. Right. I agree with that.
You got anything you want to say, X?
Change the subject. Still on the recruiting trail. It's another big name that's coming to visit next weekend. The number one line. Well, I don't know if he's number one linebacker, but what is it? Harold Perkins. Going to come on a visit on the 28th with Shamar. Both of them are being recruited by Texas A&M at the same time too. I didn't get much from that situation yet. I'm still trying to figure some things out, holler at a couple of people. How do you feel about Harold Perkins?
With Harold Perkins, I wrote something up today. I've heard that, I feel like he's a great player, obviously the number one ranked linebacker in the country. I actually watched him for the first time in Dallas during a 7-on-7 tournament last year, and he was playing like receiver. And I was just like, this kid's just a freak. Like the way he runs around, it's just like, just a very, gifted athlete and all that stuff. I actually heard today that, I do think there's a chance that he takes that Miami official visit. And, I believe that he wants to come. What I did hear is that there's also people in his camp that, have a say in what he does and, have influence in what he does. And I'm not certain that there's there's people, around him that are fully sold on the idea of Miami. He's at the Polynesian Bowl. I'm not sure how many people are there with him, but just kind of in his own interview, he's the one that said that he wanted to take that last official visit to Miami. So again, I believe that could happen. I think that's on the table, but I'm not 100% sold that when it's all said and done that he actually makes that visit. I think it could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he did make it, but I know that there's other factors at play here that could potentially prevent him from getting to Miami. If he gets on campus and all that stuff, I think it's huge. I think there's people worried about he could be someone in Shamar's ear for Texas A&M. I'm not sure that's the case. Just talking to someone, I'm not even sure Texas A&M feels 100% sold that he's going there either. So, people have their takes about, the free vacations and, he's someone that's what someone told me today. Oh, could he be in Shamar Stewart's ear on Texas A&M? Could he be like a plant for Texas A&M? And I'm just like, no, I get why you could say that as someone that's committed there and all that stuff. But I think that, if he were to come, I think it would be a legitimate visit in terms of just him being open to the idea of really hearing what Miami had to say. Would he pick them? I would be just absolutely shocked if he did. But, I don't think it's one of those situations where people are plotting to get Harold Perkins on Miami's campus or anything like that.
Got you. Giving Jimbo all that credit. Listen, man, we got 730 people in here.
Yeah, I see. I don't know if you wanted to open it up for a couple questions.
We may open up. I see we got a couple requests. We got 730 in here, man. Two little boys from the hood, from Miami Gardens. Opelika. Where you from? Opelika, Miami Gardens.
Opelika, man. Stop that.
Listen, today we got into a discussion real fast about NIL and kids getting paid, and some people seem to think that kids getting paid it's going to mess up the game, yada yada yada. And on my morning breath show, I got a morning breath show that comes on in the afternoon or anytime I feel like having it to come on. I started talking about, listen, kids getting paid, it happens already. It just doesn't really, it's a new thing here for football, it's new to us. So
I don't know if it's new. I just think it's like Jimbo Fisher said, it's not new. It's not, but for real, it's not new. It's the fact that they made it legal. Like we can legally say we paid.
Right. Okay, so now that it's legal, right? Now that it's legal, that's a different beast, because now the money, it's a different beast. It's a different animal that is legal. But my whole thing is that kids that are good at something have been getting paid overseas. Like you have Ricky Rubio went pro overseas at 15. I mean, you have some soccer players 20 years old worth $20 million, have contracts worth $20 million. We just don't have the system here yet with football. And I think the issue is getting the kids the money and financial education and things of that nature, or getting people around them to help them vet through these situations. But John, how do you feel about the NIL thing and kids getting paid and kids having options, and Caleb Williams jumping in the transfer portal so he could renegotiate his scholarship or whatever we renegotiating these days? You know what I'm saying? How you feel about it, John?
I have been an advocate for kids getting paid for as long as I've been on the radio. I played small college sports. We were allowed to work. I played at an NAIA school. We were allowed to have jobs during the season because we didn't have any money. We got scholarship money to pay for our school, and that was it. I work with a guy who finished second in the Heisman, and Joe Hamilton, good friend of mine. Hudson Mason, who played quarterback for the University of Georgia, and Brian Finneran, who was an NFL receiver for over a decade, and he played at Villanova. You start to ask these guys what a regular day was like as a college athlete, and it's not the same as your chemistry student who gets a scholarship. And it's so funny living in, I guess Atlanta's considered the South. Florida's never been considered the South, but Atlanta's the real South. And to see the real, and I'm being as very careful as I could say this, the real Southern folks not want to see these kids get paid and try to tell me, oh, they get scholarship money, is a hunk of crap. You got kids that are mandated 5 a.m. workout. Then you go to class. Then you have film study. Then you might have practice. Then you have study hall. Then you have meal. Then you have, all of a sudden you're working 10, 12, 14, 15 hours a day as an 18 to 22-year-old. Yet you can turn around in a bookstore, whether it's all Canes or Caneswear, or you go on the Georgia campus or anywhere else, and I can sell your jersey at $135 with your number on it, and you don't get a dime from it. Or you can sell a video game at $70 a pop, and there are millions of them sold, and you don't get a dime from it. why can't these kids figure out how to make money? And I love the fact that NIL came into play, because now it's not about, hey, we got to pay everybody. It's you go out and get your own deal. Here's a couple of things that have to happen in my estimation. And I'm all for it. If kids can get $1 million deal, get $1 million deal. You damn sure earn the school billions of dollars. These are $1 billion television contracts, not $1 million television contracts. One thing, there will have to be some kind of regulation, because what happened at Texas A&M was never supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to be, hey, we entice you to sign with our school by promising you an NIL deal. It was supposed to be, you're Tyler Van Dyke and you're already on campus, you earned an NIL deal. It's not supposed to be you're a kid coming from high school and getting, so there's going to have to be a regulation there. The second thing, every single school will have to hire a financial advisor for these kids. Because can you imagine when we were 17 or 18, somebody handing you $50,000, or even if it's $1,000 a week paycheck? I think about when I was in school, I worked at Taco Bell. I made $4.25 an hour. And if I had $100, I went to buy a pair of Iversons. That was like my entire thought was, how can I buy new shoes and gear? I couldn't imagine having $50,000 in my pocket. So you're going to need a financial advisor. The next part to that, every staff is now going to have to hire a guy to keep recruiting his own team. Georgia just won a national title, and they got kids left and right going in the portal. Alabama had 11 or 12 kids leave to go to the portal. You know, you're talking about over 1,000 kids are in the portal right now. And Streeter, to your point, you know what they're looking for right now? Who's going to give me A, playing time, and then B, who might give me the best NIL deal where I can go make money while I'm in college? Right. I love it. Every one of these kids should have an opportunity to make money, whether you're the long snapper or the starting quarterback. But there has to be some education involved with this. And I think it's going to go now down to a high school level where you're going to find staffs going out to hire people on a high school level to educate these kids. Because the last thing I want to see happen is kids from wherever, all of a sudden they get all this money and they don't understand the IRS and they don't understand taxes and they don't understand how people are going to use them for different ways. You know, you guys talk about this was going on forever. Go back and watch the 30 for 30 called Pony Excess when they talk about SMU. Eric Dickerson, go back and watch the one on Marcus Dupree, the best of
Marcus Dupree, right?
He lived in Philadelphia, Mississippi, that had one hotel. And in this documentary, they talked about how every college coach was there with bags of money and cars trying to recruit Marcus Dupree. I have friends that played D1, and they got cars, and their family got money. And this was 30 years ago. It happened. Now it's legal, it's above board, but there has to be education behind it, because I don't want any of these kids getting fucked up behind an NIL deal that gets them in trouble somewhere down the line.
Oh, believe me, it's some kids right now who NIL deals are real head shaking. And like you say, they need to get education. They need to have somebody who knows how to read these contracts. Obviously, they need to have somebody to tell them, like, some of these deals that we've heard last year, man, was just ridiculous. I mean, I want to slap some of these kids for even signing their name on it. Like, what was you thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Oh, like you can't be hurting that bad for what you just signed to name.
But
they are hurt.
You know better. They are hurting. You know, you guys are in the neighborhoods or have been in the neighborhoods where a lot of these kids come from. $50,000 is life-changing money. Like, I think about, we were lower middle class when I was growing up. Had I got a $50,000 deal, that would have been $20,000 more than my mom was making. So imagine you're an 18-year-old, you're from the Beans, or you're from Carroll City, and your mom's making, your mom's working 2 jobs, she's making $10.50 an hour. And all of a sudden you get a $50,000 deal. I wouldn't give a damn if it's pork and beans. I wouldn't give a damn if it's a restaurant. If I got to go deep sea diving and pull crustaceans off the bottom of a boat, if I got 50 grand to help my family, I'm not saying no.
Yeah, mama gonna take that money anyway, John.
Yeah,
mama gonna take that money anyway, John.
Yeah, there's a lot of them where mama's already taking the money, and that's how they ended up at schools that they didn't want to go to. And that's why you see these kids in the portal a year or a year and a half from now.
That's a whole nother story right there. With them bags drops and the parents take the money and the kids like, well, hold on, where the money at? I thought I was getting the money.
Yeah,
But-
you
but-
end up no knock on Clemson, but a little bit. You end up in Clemson, South Carolina, and I see my boy Brad's on here. You and I think a lot of you have been to games at Clemson. You're 20 miles off the interstate in the middle of nowhere. And you mean to tell me you're getting kids from Compton, California, and South Miami, and all these different places to go to country-ass Clemson? We know why that happened. I'll keep it real. Bags of cash showed up. This is why Dabo Swinney doesn't want NIL deals. He knows what this is. Now it's above
Right.
board. Now
Right.
schools like Miami and USC and Texas can keep the kids home that were leaving before.
Right. Hey, but
Yeah.
real talk, on a serious note, Footballville started 2012, and I was all football. And it hit me one day, John, that even when these kids make it through high school, they make it out the slum, they make it through college, no injuries, and they get to the pros. Once I left my job and I started doing Footballville full time and investing in the market and learning how Forex and these things, I realized that they don't know what to do with money. The only
Nope.
thing they were good at was playing football. And it slapped me, and I was like, wait a minute. So you're trying to tell me even when they make it to the 1% that make it to the promised land, it's a pitfall because now you have sharks around you and you have no clue what to do with $1 million, $2 million. And that's why I started Invest or Die, because I just wanted to add it. We jump high enough, we run fast enough. Is my motto. We need to add financial education to this thing so we can get the bag and grow the bag and don't have somebody managing our bag till it goes to zero. X, what Nesta at, big dog?
Nesta, he left and went to Arizona State. That's a good fit for him out there with Coach Herm Edwards. And I always forget the defensive coordinator name. He played for the Giants. But that's a good fit for Nesta to go out there with Arizona State.
You think Nesta saw the writing on the wall, X? Like you think he foresaw what was about to happen and was like, all right, let me go do what's best for me. And I think he has made a good decision, right?
Yeah, I think he made a good decision. Not saying that he wouldn't have played if he did decide to come back and stay with UM. But maybe the playing time would have got a lot limited.
Right.
So the previous year you have two receivers who we talked about that started the previous year but came back and didn't even get playing time the following year, and they both have to enter the portal. That was not saying it's Nesta's situation, but you just don't want to even give it an opportunity. So
right.
why when I could just go ahead and leave and get me a new situation? Same with Gervin Hall. He started 2 years for University of Miami, and then this year he starts and then get replaced. You know what I'm saying? So it's like why sit there and just these type of things could happen. You know what? I'm gonna go to a new situation where I could create my own situation. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. It's called leverage. So listen, we're gonna take a few questions. X. All right. Anything else we trying to get out here? You want to talk about the staff, Hippolyte, right? What happened with Hippolyte?
Oh yeah, man. Shouts out to my homeboy Hippolyte Benedict. Coach Hippolyte. He's moved to quality control. Last year he was a grad assistant, the GA. Now he's a quality control coach. He was a very instrumental part in landing the three amigos, the receivers that we have, Jacoby George, Romello Brinson, and Brashard Smith was very instrumental in landing them guys, helping us land them guys. Very instrumental with Isaiah Horton, the 2022 wide receiver. Him and his dad love Hippolyte when they came on a visit. So now he stays on the staff. He's a quality control coach for us.
That's what's up, bro. I mean, that's what's up. All right, we're gonna take a couple of these questions. Listen, just come in and ask your question. One question at a time, so we can get a few people in here. We're gonna stay on here, John. We ain't gonna be on that much longer, bro. We're gonna stay on here maybe 15 more minutes, man. We're gonna get you out of here, man. All right.
All good, because 4:30 a.m. comes real early when I got to get up.
4:30 a.m. Good Lord,
yeah,
man.
but look, I say that, and I'm off at 10. I'm home by 10:30, and I'm taking a nap by 10:32, so I can't complain.
No, you can't complain. That sounds awesome, though.
It's not bad at all.
So we got Oregon. You got a question, Oregon Kane? You got a question? You got to unmute yourself.
Hey, bro, you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Coach. So with there's a rumor that Corey Raymond and Mario talked before he went to Florida. What's the possibility of we going after him?
You say a rumor that Mario talked with who?
Corey Raymond before he went to Florida.
Oh, Corey Raymond.
He's sitting pretty at Florida, ain't he?
Yeah, I think he's sitting pretty over there. I know. I heard this numerous times that when he did leave LSU, University of Miami was a school that he would have left for. So when he went and took the job at Florida, that was surprising. But I think he's over there sitting good. So I don't know anything about that rumor though.
Right. Cage, what's going on? We got Cage apart. What's going on, bro? You gotta unmute yourself. JJ Apps 305. All right, gonna get somebody else in here. Cristobal, and unmute yourself, big. What's going on? You got a question?
Yeah. What do you think? There's a possibility we get like Jeremiah Burton, or we go after him in the transfer portal?
Nah, I doubt it. I doubt we go after him. Could be a situation where we do, but I doubt it. I think he's going to want to stay over there in the SEC. Maybe Bama, Texas A&M, LSU, Florida, one of them schools. I think he's going to probably most likely head to.
I was going to say, I already saw rumors today that he's Bama bound. As soon as he jumped in the portal out of Georgia, they said he's probably going to go to Alabama. And that's one, for Georgia, unfortunately, they win a national title. Everything they did was great. They don't use the receivers. There's rumors that Darnell Washington, who I know we were recruiting as well, potentially could hit the portal. He was not happy. The fact he had like 10 catches and 140 yards. So watch for them maybe losing another player or two.
John, I got a question. What did that win do for the state of Georgia? What was the vibe? Because Georgia had got there and failed numerous times.
Man, 41 years. That's all you got to say. And that stadium was probably 70% Georgia fans. And I wasn't cheering for anybody. For buddies like Randy McMichael's a really good friend of mine. DJ Shockley's a really good friend of mine. For those guys, I was excited that they won. There were grown-ass men boo-hoo crying in that crowd. I'm talking about on their knees.
Like I saw a couple videos, yeah.
Guess what? Miami wins another national title. You're going to see my ass, my 40-something-year-old ass, boo-hoo crying just as well. But
X, you crying? You crying, X?
Oh, X is going to cry. Miami wins the national title. He's going to cry. And I'll be crying right along with him.
Yeah, we gonna all cry while we drinking Hennessy and partying.
And going to Tootsie's.
You
can't be crying in front of strippers, man. AJ, you got a question?
Nah, I ain't gonna do that in front of the strippers, though.
Hey, thank you guys for doing what y'all do. I listen to y'all daily. I follow y'all. I mean, I'm just like I say, I wake up every morning and let to see what you guys doing every day. Go Kings.
Appreciate it.
I know it sounds like being a dead horse, but I'm asking about Mario and the coordinators and the timing. I know y'all like to say there's no rush, but if we look at like our previous 3-4 head coaches, each one of them had like 2 or 3 flaws that ended up being their downfall, whether it was Al not wanting to fire Mark and things like that. And could this be like, I don't want to like start it off, but potentially like Mario's ability, or he doesn't have a plan ready to go for us right now?
No, I think you just said it yourself. Basically, Mario don't want to rush the hire because he don't want to be put in that predicament again where, oh man, I got to fire this guy because just go back to I don't even know how to pronounce his name no more. Manny Diaz. He hires Dan Enos. He hired Dan Enos fast, quick. And just like that, a year later, he fired Dan Enos just that fast. You don't want to have them situations. You know what I'm saying? So I think because Mario is trying to make the proper hire when it comes to coordinators. Obviously, you could come and be a Lashley. You do good 2 years, and you go get you another job. You know what I'm saying? So it's situations where you just want to be right,
AJ,
and then have somebody else in place instead of just making a rush hire.
AJ, I got a question for you. AJ, you still there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, repeat the last part of your question. You said could this be a thing where Mario, this could be something that he's not good at, he come in not ready to go. Repeat the last part of your question.
Not want to say he's not good at it, but it's like, well, I was just saying, like, is it an inability to have a plan ready right now to go for Miami? Did he, like, I don't want to say like he came and he rushed and took the job, or it was a thing like, I know you guys saying it was probably ruined since November, but just the way he kind of left Oregon, and like I said, maybe his plan hasn't come together yet, or it's not going as what he wants it to be.
Right.
That's really just all I was asking.
I got look at it from this standpoint, right? University of Miami, we've just found out had been running like a mom and pop show for the last 15 years. Money comes down the pipe. Mario say, listen, they ain't coming over there unless this guy fired, unless y'all give me this, and then they drop a bag on him, right? He gets here. Everything that's been going on for the last 15 years, it has to be fixed in real time. You understand? So he gets here, then the AD's hired, and so I think some of the things that he may be experiencing or going through behind the scenes is that he's going to have to be a part of the fix, bro. He's going to have to be a part of the fix of what's happened the last 15, 20 years here. You get what I'm saying? That makes sense?
It does.
You know, it's almost like a diet. Like we all gain weight over 10 or 12 years, and it's because we don't eat right. And then in 3 weeks, we all want to lose 45 pounds, and it just doesn't happen that way.
Exactly. That's good
Miami's been
analogy,
bad for,
dog. That's why you're on the
Miami's,
radio.
Miami's been bad for 15 years, or average for 15 years. I think the second part to that, and to answer your question about fatal flaw, one of the things with Mario that he was knocked for at Oregon was maybe he was a little too conservative when they had Justin Herbert. Because I've heard that a couple of times. By the way, they went 12-2 and won a Rose Bowl. I'd break my arm right now to go 12-2 and win a major bowl game.
Right.
I think if you go back, and there was a video posted maybe 2 or 3 days ago about how Mario vets his candidates and the way that he goes through an interview process. This isn't like getting a job at Target where they go, hey, when are you available to work? Cool, you're hired. He literally makes people go through film, how they would evaluate things, how they would attack it, what would be their verbiage, how it would work. He's taking his time. Let's be honest. What does he need a coordinator for today? They don't have practice. Spring practice ain't for a couple of months.
Right. All you
Selling
need is curly beard guy.
Yes, selling kids right now is about the vision of the program. He's telling a Shamar Stewart, hey, I'm going to run a 4-man front. Cool. I'm sure he's telling TBD and all the offensive guys, we're going to be some type of tempo spread. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it was Jason Candle. I never thought it was going to be Kendall Briles. Let him take the time and make the right hire. We bitched for years about them rushing to new hires. Take your time. We got Mario. We got Dan Radakovich. Mario brought the guys he wanted from Oregon. The rest is going to fill out. I have no thought that Mario's going to miss these hires.
All right, so I'll let you guys in on we sat down. We were with Shamar Stewart this weekend, right? And we asked questions. And we interviewed Mo and Shamar Stewart, and one of the top recruits in the nation. I mean, one of the biggest names in down to this wire in this recruiting thing. Who the coordinator was going to be, right? Was the last thing like on their mind, like that because I'm sure when they sit down and if the question gets asked, something gets said. That wasn't an issue. Like that's who the coordinator is going to be wasn't an issue. So whatever Mario's doing to soothe these recruits over is working. I mean, so X, talk to me. Like us not having an OC or DC, like what right now, like what are we missing out
on? I don't. We're not missing out on much because, as John said, spring is not to a couple of months, like literally. So you're not missing out on much besides. I think more so maybe offense. If you don't get certain skill positions that are on offense, like receivers or quarterback stuff like that, but you're not missing out on much. Mario pretty much, Mario learned. He learned from Bush Davis. He learned how to be talent evaluator from Bush Davis. So when I'm watching how he's attacking these coaching hires, it's the same thing that Bush Davis did. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't remember because it was back then, but it's basically the same thing Bush Davis did. It's not let's speed it up and fix it just like that. Nah, it's gonna take time. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants to fix everything that's been broken for the last 15 years. That's a lot. It ain't just about the football team. It's about administration, the weight program, the water girls, the bar boys, it's everything.
All that.
You know what I'm saying?
All
Everything Mario got to fix.
Right. All that.
And granted, guess what? The media too, another big problem. So a lot of it is getting fixed where Mario is doing it on his time, and everybody else don't like it. They want it to be rushed. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem with the situation. Obviously, Mario's going to make the right hire, and we'll have the right guys in place to lead us in the right direction.
So we're gonna get Mario on the Caneville show before this thing over with. He gonna be here forever. So we're gonna get
I told you
get
we
Mario
gonna get him because I'm gonna go buy the Cuban coffee, man, and get him on the show.
we get Mario on the Caneville. So Mizzy, what's going on, bro? You got a question? Turn back.
Yeah, well, man, what's up, X and D, man? Appreciate everything y'all doing, man. Keep it up. But there's a lot of speculation about John Ruiz, like Billy Corbin and Rovell, Robo, however you say his name, about how legitimate he is, and if these NI deals are actually going to come to fruition. So I just want to know, how do y'all feel about John Ruiz, and have y'all ever like spoken to him and his plan and everything?
I mean, one of the deals came through today. I think Gilbert did his deal today. They shot a commercial for that one today. The man say the time is now, and he making things happen. Him and his family are making things happen. Obviously, right. Man, in life you always got haters. If you don't got them, then you're not doing something right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't pay attention to the naysayers. We just riding the wave. We gonna see how things play out, man. That's all we can say. You know what I'm saying? He's speaking on things that they doing, and some of the things they're making it happen. We're gonna be right here with him.
I think listen, bro. I mean, he's part of some of the frenzy that's going on around here, man. The man's everywhere on Joe Rose show. I just saw the commercial. He was with Frank Gore. Him, Life Wallet, what they got going on is real. I mean, they're supporting the University of Miami, and I think the University of Miami are very aware that they're there and doing business with them. I actually sat down with the Ruiz family. I actually went to their house, sat down with them, took pictures of the cigarette boat, and all that, man. Very nice house. I should have brought somebody with me, man. Some floods and something. Maybe I could have. I mean, that's another story, man. But yeah, man, very nice house. I actually sat down with Alex, man, 22-year-old hot shot, bro. We haven't did any business yet. Anything haven't came down the pipe yet with us and them, but they're making it happen, dog. And at this point, bro, if it's not real, we all dead, man. We just gonna find a team. We FIU at this point, fool.
He's a legitimate businessman. This is not a front. This is not a scheme. The man, from what I read, came up with an algorithm for medical billing and went from a millionaire to a billionaire and multi-billionaire. You're talking $20, $30 billion. The one thing that's scary because we're Miami is when it's front and center, you get national guys who are going to crap on it. That's the issue. Now, and I think, Streeter, you just said it right. If it's a front and it's just a front for something illegal, Miami's dead. We'll be dead in 5 years and we'll be gone. And you will all have to find new teams to cheer for. But everything that I've read about this guy is legit and on the up and up. And I don't think the school would let him be so out there and so public with what he's doing without them vetting the process. Dan Radakovich isn't some dumb athletic director. He was at Georgia Tech. He was at Clemson. He helped build both of those programs to where they were. I have no problem with the Ruiz family. The only thing I'm mad at right now is he was giving Danny Boy Kane a $12,000 NIL deal. I'm like, look, man, how can I get in on this action? How can we get sponsored? I need 15 grand a year.
Right. No, bro, like, listen, he I asked him when I sat there. I asked Alex, why now? I mean, you guys been had money. Why now? Why is the time? And he looked me right in my eye and he told me, bro, we didn't have this much money. Straight up. I mean, so they
Yeah,
love
that's the
University of
only
Miami.
reason I asked, because I haven't seen the school come out and promote him or speak of him. So it just made me wonder.
Oh no, Texas A&M never comes out and say, "Hey man, Jimbo," on a commercial.
Right.
Shout out to Jimbo. No, it's not. It's not going to happen like that. But I'm here to. The school is very aware. I mean, he does business with the school. He's just giving money to the baseball team. So no, I mean he's connected to the school. I mean he talks to the school all the time. I mean you think they wouldn't be press conferences. I mean, press release coming out of him giving $2 million to the baseball team and him giving these kids all his money and nobody's backing him down. No, it's real, bro.
Yeah, Donna Shalala's not there anymore to take big old large checks from anybody.
Right. No, Meezy, it's real. I know it feel like a dream, Meezy. Go ahead, pinch yourself. I feel you, dog. Me and X are in the middle of it. We created Caneville, and boom. 6 months ago, I was saying don't fire Manny because I never wanted to see Miami hire another coach again. And then 3 months later, we heard Mario was coming, and nobody believed us. And now Meezy living in a dream. Shout out.
I feel you. But respect. Thank y'all for the question, man. Respect.
Appreciate you, bro.
I never wanted Manny to be our coach. I've been on a let Manny go train for 2 years.
All right, so listen, man, we're gonna get John out of here, man. John gotta wake up 4:30 in the morning. I don't even know what that feel like. I ain't gonna tell you what I do 4:30 in the morning.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Man, John came down to one of the games, man, to one of the tailgates, man, and we had a blast, man.
Man, it was so much. For all I'll say, shout out, I see my boy Mondo in here, Brad. Shout out to Uncle Luke. I see Uncle Luke in the building as well.
Luke,
Uncle Luke.
Uncle Luke.
Hold up, man. Where Uncle Luke at, man? Wait a minute, man. That man
we got Luke
the
in the
soundtrack
building.
of my childhood, bro.
Right. That's the soundtrack of my workouts right
Luke
now.
At, man.
Luke,
I'm inviting you to speak, bro.
I put on some Jam Pony, and I ride South Florida up here all day, every day.
Get Luke in here, man, because
man, I
got
invited
one
him
question,
already,
Luke,
bro.
Luke, I still was waiting on you at Tussie's, Luke. What happened?
I just sent him an invite. So Luke, come on through, man. We'll stay on a little bit. We'll stay on here a tad bit for Luke, man. The sound of the soundtrack of my childhood, dog. I went to clubs just to hear "I Want to Rock."
Man, I'll tell you, I think I was in 6th grade when "Hey, We Want Some" came out, and you know how we used to do with the old tapes. I would take the tape and an eraser, and I erased everything off of there, and I'm listening on my Walkman. This tell you how old I am. And my mom goes, "Oh, I want to hear what you're taking," and grabs my Walkman and puts it in her tape deck. And all I hear is somebody say, "Hey," and I'm trying to eject that thing as fast as possible. And she looks at me and goes, "Do you know what this means?" I go, "Well, I do now. Thanks to Uncle Luke and the Two Live crew. That's how I learned how to get down the right way."
Luke,
man,
you got Luke in the house,
man.
Luke, what's going on?
Y'all crazy, man. Y'all got me in the T-Mobile store just listening to y'all, and then you want to start talking about the music.
Bro, listen, man. You the soundtrack. I tell you all the time, man. I pay homage. You the soundtrack of my childhood, bro. And also, I think a lot of things we see going on with the turnover chain and things of that nature came from the culture that you helped create here in South Florida, big dog.
Yeah, Luke basically started the culture of Miami football. He started it. So if any fans don't like what Luke does, then that you just got to deal with your own personal issues. Luke started the culture of Miami football, Miami Hurricanes football. Like, it's no culture, it's no Hurricanes football without Uncle Luke. So y'all got to give him his flowers now.
Hey, man.
So listen, Luke, get right down to it, man.
Go ahead.
Go. JoJo. Is Mario going to get on JoJo, bro?
Mario is going to, you asking me?
Yeah. Because the last staff wouldn't recruit small wide receivers, but we know Dog is a beast. He committed to Clemson. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you say Ray.
Is Mario going to try to get him back in the fold?
Oh, yeah.
Ray. Yeah,
Ray.
Talking about JoJo. Who is JoJo?
Exactly. I'm like, who is
JoJo? Ray.
No, they already been coming to the school. I mean, the new wide receiver coach, as soon as he got in town. He wasn't there for 24 hours. Got on the phone, called me up. He said, "Coach, I'm here. I want Ray." He said that from the word go. He said, "Man, in this room, I got you."
You breaking up a little bit on you.
From New Jersey. They said we got some guy on the top of the list from New Jersey, and I don't know who the dude is, but I want Ray Ray. And so I said, Coach, hey man, I'm pretty sure the young man would love to hear that because nobody from Miami was recruiting him, and he's been talking to him every day since then. And Coach came by the school, and talked to, had some conversations with us. I sat down with Mario about a week ago, and we had probably a 2-hour lunch about some of the things that need to be done. And I'm just happy about the fact that the program is going the direction it's going in.
Shouts out to Uncle Luke, man. You just had another player, Francis Norton, who just committed to Syracuse. Another great player at defensive end who just committed to Syracuse up the road in Buffalo, New York. Shouts out to the job you're doing at Miami Edison, man. That school was almost like a dead program, and then you reached in there and woke it back up, and you're getting a bunch of kids to schools all around the country, man. Congratulations on that, Uncle Luke.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I mean, I coached at Central. I was on the staff, got the first state championship, coached at the West for about 4 years, and coached with Heidelberg for about 4 years, and I just wanted my own program. So it didn't matter where I went. We got there. It was a total of 8 kids on the first 2 days, and we're just happy about what we're trying to do. Giving the kids a different option. I just look at it. It shouldn't be. It's only 11 kids can play, and when you see the schools in the area, and you have 100 kids on JV and 70 on varsity, those kids need an opportunity to go somewhere else and play. So, why not Edison? I always tell people we're gonna work just as hard to try and get our kids in college as anybody else.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So anything we got 600 in here, Luke. Anything you want to pass on to them? Any kids you got, man, that need to be recruited? Any kids you got you want us to promote? I mean, that's not getting looked at because I know this high school recruiting stuff getting dicey with this transfer portal.
Yeah, man, it's rough out here. It is that transfer portal rough, and it look like it's gonna get rougher. Between the transfer portal, and the which I'm all for. But if they do the 1-on-1, then I think that'll probably help the situation out with high school students. Now starting to get back and get these offers and get into college. I mean, between the transfer, as y'all know, transfer portal and NIL money. I heard y'all on here earlier talking about Texas A&M. They stopped by the school today with Georgia, recruiting Ray and a couple of our other kids. I'm just when you look at it and the money that's being spent, it's got to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money for kids going, transferring to other schools where you can get, a bunch of money and high school students coming out. I can tell you right now, Ray is probably up to about $300,000 in NIL money, based on what school he wants to go to. My kid, because again, I've negotiated those contracts in the NFL for Friedman to Duke Johnson to a couple other NFL players that we had with us. So, it's a whole nother game out here. And when you talk about Texas A&M, they got all money. You talk about John Ruiz. I met with John, me and John cool. People, I know one of the callers on here said they don't know whether or not he's straight. you're gonna see haters all over the place. I sat at the man house, and sat down with him and my brother on a different deal. And the man has a 150-foot yacht in his backyard, and his house is 75,000 square feet. He stays in there by himself with 15 people working on the boat and 20 people working in the house. hey, the man real. Put it this way,
Right.
the man is real, and we sat there. We talked about Miami football, and we talked about what needs to happen. And that man real. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna build a stadium. I fully believe he's gonna do it. I talked to him about that. He asked me, would I be a part of what he's doing? I'm like, yeah, anything good for Miami. We need that because football is going to be competitive, baseball going to be competitive, basketball, this NIL thing is just going to change the entire landscape. And in Miami, we don't have too many billionaires. We got a lot of people talk, we got a lot of people hate, but they ain't putting their money where their mouth is. And that man doing that.
He really is. Luke, when I got to the house, right, I pulled up to the address and I got out the house and he called me. He was like, hey, come across the street. And I was like, y'all on both sides of the street? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Y'all on both sides, but no, big, beautiful house, man. I'll post a few pictures when we get out of here, man. So anything you want the people to go do, man, anything you need them to go download, man, we appreciate you, man. 100, big dog.
Hey, man, I'm just, I'm like all y'all, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for Kane football. I'm excited for everything that we're doing in town. All these kids, and I'm just happy when I see all these scouts coming in South Florida looking for our players. But then more so, it's tough. Each scout that sat in my office over the last week, they know it's gonna be tough with Mario. They know it's gonna be tough. I mean, versus Manny and the way that they were recruiting, you got guys just recruiting Northwestern and guys just recruiting down south because his brother down south, and guys just recruiting Shamar and creating pipelines to those three schools in 3 areas. Now these guys coming in, and that's what I told Mario. You gotta have guys coming in to recruit the entire area. Recruit the entire town. Don't just recruit 1 school or 2 schools, 3 schools. Recruit everybody, from everywhere. And that's what gets Miami back to where it's at. They were doing that. And so hopefully, we do the right thing and we get every best player that's available from whatever school. I don't care whether they come from Crop. Get them from Crop. If that's the best player in town, let's do that. But hey, man, I appreciate everything you be doing, man. I listen to you, on your Bitcoin show, on your investment show. I cannot wake up in the morning to mess with you. You mess with the other man talking about 4 o'clock in the morning. Tell these people you try to get me to come on y'all show at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I can't make it.
It wasn't 4 o'clock, man. Whatever time it was, you was at Tootsie's. This man said, listen, man, the only way I can get to the show that time is if I just come straight from when I left Tootsie. I was like, all right, man, just bring 1 or 2 of them things with you, dog. That's all.
Hey, man, I love you, man.
Man, appreciate you, bro. Anytime, man. We're going to get up out of here and let John go get some sleep, man. All right?
Look, I got to apologize to Uncle Luke. He won't remember. I'll remember Club 112 in Atlanta. I was sort of a VIP there, like you guys are at Tootsie's. And one night, Luke was sitting at the bar, and my best friend goes, John, I got to bring you. Uncle Luke's sitting at the bar, and he has me come over there. I'm drunk as all get out, taking my shirt off to show my Miami tattoos. And Luke, you were as friendly as can be, and you dapped me up. And I'm sure you were looking like, who is this dumbass bald white dude coming over here with no shirt on, trying to show me some damn Miami Hurricane tattoos? But Streeter said it best. You were the soundtrack to my childhood. You were the soundtrack to my adulthood. I literally tagged you on Friday. I was in the gym and some 2 Live popped on, and man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I met you at Falcons camp one day when you were out there with D Free years and years ago. But we love everything that you've done. All the fake ass people out there that try to give you crap. You've been Miami before most of these dudes came out their dad's balls.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Love
That's
y'all,
what's
dude.
up, man. That's what's up. X, you good? You got anything you want to ask Luke, man?
Nah, I'm good. But the only thing is, next time you at Tootsie, just remind me. I'm still waiting.
All
I
right,
think
man. I think he got.
Yeah, I
People
think
saying
he
they've been
gone. I
getting
think he
kicked out,
gone.
man. You know, I don't know what's going on with Twitter. But listen, man, we're gonna get up out of here, man. Like I said, come check me out. The last tweet I just put up, Investor Die, man. Talk about Bitcoin, man. And John, what time your show come on, man? How can the people listen to you, bro?
6 a.m. in the morning. You can download the app. It's the best way. 680 The Fan. We got our own app. Download. I'm on from 6 to 10. Our show's called The Locker Room. There's 5 of us. We act a fool. You'll hear my loud ass voice talking shit. If I ever get a chance to put Miami in the conversation, you best believe I will. If you're in Atlanta, I'll see you Friday night. I'll be at the Hawks Heat game. I got to bring my son. My son Kane is a diehard Tyler Hero fan, so we got to go watch them and whoop up on the Hawks. So I'll be at the game on Friday night if anybody happens to be in the ATL. Come by and say what's up. We'll have on our Heat gear as always.
Okay. All right. Cool. X, anything you want to you want to pass before you get out of here, bro?
Nah. I mean, well, we just got this big recruiting weekend this weekend, so y'all stay tuned, locked in on Twitter, Instagram. You know, cause we're gonna give y'all some updates about recruits that's coming down,
right?
Stuff like that. That's about it.
And if you just got in here, man, T-Rob heading to Bama, right, X?
Yeah. That's the news. T-Rob.
The news we got is T-Rob won't be Miami next DB coach. So we're gonna have to fill that in. John said Ed Reed. It's time for Ed Reed. The football gods have spoken.
Put him on the staff.
Let's bring Ed Reed in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, update, man. If y'all just getting here, T-Rob won't be coaching at. T-Rob is out, and I think Bama offered him a job, and I think he's headed to Bama. Seems like everybody in the SEC offered him this week. I don't know.
Yeah. Started with Georgia looking at him, Texas A&M looking at him, Bama looking at him, and obviously, why not go coach on alongside with the GOAT, the great one, Nick Saban. It's a little harder for me because me and T-Rob go way back since playing Little League together. But I'm happy for him. He's still following his dream.
All right, well, listen, man, we gonna X blacking out now. X must be walking in Tootsies or something. I don't know what's going on. But we gonna get up out here, man.
Earlier today, man. And I just went in there to get me something to eat.
Go to Tootsies every day.
And I just went in there to get me something to eat, man. But as soon as I walked in, they had a couple drinks already waiting for me. So I'm like, oh.
You heard what Chris Rock said about eating at a strip club, but nah, Tootsie got some good food, bro.
Yeah, they got some of the best food, man. But that's what's up, man. So I guess
well, let's get up out of here, man. We're gonna shut this thing down. What's up?
No, I say yeah, just stay tuned. Y'all get some recruiting info from us this weekend.
All right, man. Peace, y'all, and go follow us on everything, man. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, MySpace, Black Planet. Go follow us on everything, big dog. John, man, we appreciate you, man, and we out of here.
Anytime, guys.
Yo.